Hello folks, today we're going to talk about leashes. There's no really right or wrong leash for your dog. It just depends which gives you the most comfort in your hand, the length you feel is appropriate, and you feel that it's strong enough for your dog if you have a larger breed. Leashes come in a variety of different materials. They come in nylon leads, which is very similar to the collars. And I don't have a nylon lead to show an example of, but pretty much it's the same material as this. It's simply a nylon lead with a handle and a snap. And the nylon leads come in a variety of lengths, anywhere from 18 inches to 6 feet, depending on what you want to use. The other option is a leather leash, and you will find that people with anything from medium to large breeds generally prefer a leather leash. If you have a breed that pulls, that nylon leash will actually give you rope burns. It's very hard on your hand. Leather leashes, taken care of properly and if good quality, will last forever. They're kinder on your hands and they're stronger actually. Now, when you do look at leather leashes, obviously I have big breeds, so we have heavier leashes than a lot of you folks would use. But the first thing to do is look at the quality of the leash, because there's a big difference in leather quality. Bridal leather by far is superior. It's generally more expensive. It can be difficult to find, but it's well worth the extra investment once you know what length of leash you want. I would strongly encourage getting a bridal leather lead. If you have problems locating them, ask me and I can refer you to some people who make them. So we have a leather leash here. The other thing you want to make sure on a leather leash is it's stitched very well. And the good ones are beveled. You can see how the edge here just flows right into the leash. There's no sharp edge. It's stitched neatly. There's no loose threads. You can also have a leather leash that is braided at the ends. And these work well. The only thing you have to remember is with time, this braiding can stretch out and it can become worn right in this area, and that could be a problem with breaking. Usually braided leashes have braiding on both ends. And you can see this is a softer leash. This is more of a latigo leather leash. The main thing when you're looking at leashes, when you pull them, there should be no stretch. They should feel secure. People also will use what we call braided alligator leashes. They're just a square braid, and inside this is a parachute cord, which gives it additional strength. You have to have that parachute cord in there or you will not have any strength and this will stretch. If you have a dog who's trained, you might want to use a pretty leash. These are very popular. There's a number of people who make them. They can be made custom to your colors. They have decoration. Your imagination is your guide, so you can do whatever you want. These come in two styles, one where you have an actual snap, or one where you slip your collar through the end loop and it becomes a one-piece apparatus for your dog. That is actually the more secure way. The snaps on some of these fancy leads are not as secure as I would like to see. So now we want to talk about the snaps, because if you have a good leash but a bad snap, that won't help at all. It'll break. So feel your leash, even if you have a small dog, look at the snap and try to determine if it's going to be sufficient. There are several different types of snaps. This is just a standard snap. Most of us are used to seeing these. This is another type of snap, same thing basically. This snap a lot of us are familiar with, but it's probably not the recommended one because it's very easy to accidentally get your leash caught into the snap and let your dog go. So this one is not one of your better choices. There is a lead or a snap that's difficult to find, but this actually slides down so the dog can't unclip it easily. It takes a bit of work to undo this. So this is a good one if you're worried about having your dog be loose. Again, there's no right or wrong. You find the leash that works for you. Generally, you want to have enough leash so your dog can gait comfortably with you without being overly tight. Now, keeping in mind, you have to hold the excess leash in your hand. You don't want to get a leash too long. So a short person like me with a Great Dane is going to have a fairly short leash. Like for me, this is a good size. But a person with a smaller dog or who is very tall is obviously going to have a longer leash. So find the length that works for you. What you don't want to have, again, is a lot of excess leash, because you got to hold that. Now, one of the things that you have to learn how to do is hold the leash properly. You don't ball it up in your hand. You don't wrap it around. You never wrap it around. You never slip the loop through your wrist, because if the dog got away from you and pulled you forward, you would fall. You'd have no way to catch yourself. You want to be able to hold the leash in a manner that you can bundle it up and shorten it, or give the dog some more leash length without using your right hand. So the easiest way to do this is just attach your leash to something, give it a little bit of tension. You stick your index finger through the leash and you grasp, pinch, grasp, pinch, grasp, pinch, until you have as much length as you want and the balance of the leash is in your hand. Now what this allows me to do is, if the dog's moving along and I want to give him more leash, I can drop a little bit and give him more. Or if I feel the dog is moving too fast, I can tighten the leash up and tighten him in. So again, there's no right or wrong leash. You just need to find what's appropriate for your dog and what you're comfortable with. Initially, when you're starting out and trying different leashes, you might look around at what different people within your breed are using, and you probably will notice pretty much they're consistent. So like with Great Danes, we pretty much use slip collars and leads. With little dogs, okay, so my phone decided to cut me off before I ended. But anyway, what leash and collar you use really is dependent for you. If whatever you are using isn't giving you the measure of control that you want, if it seems like you're struggling with it, you have too much excess leash or collar, or your dog's fighting it too much, then try something else. Because basically, if what you're not using or what you're using isn't working, then you need to try something else. There are a lot of really good YouTube videos that are a lot more professional than this one on leashes and collars, and you might take a look at some of those for other suggestions. And that's it for leashes.